to? And what did this world do to you? What will it take to get you through? And how long has this had a hold on you?
Hello, good day. Welcome to another edition of Addicted2. We're going to get connected with my next guest here, Frank. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, we actually met because I needed my fence done, and then we started talking.
Yeah, it's funny how people connect.
It is. So, basically, you were telling me a little bit about your story. You've got 3 sons.
Yeah, so I'm a single father raising 3 beautiful boys.
And you're on your own now.
Yeah, I've been, I took full custody of my kids 8 years ago this September. Been with me. They lost their mother a year and a half ago. She died of carfentanil overdose.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, boys hadn't seen her since they came to me. She kept to herself. She kept away from the kids altogether. Like, I'm sort of grateful for that. Another way, I'm not grateful because if maybe she had spent more time with the kids, it might have made her come back around and sober up.
Yeah, hard to say, eh?
It's decisions that she would have to make on her own, but she chose the lifestyle she did. That was her choices, right? It don't matter where you go in life. It's the choices you make today that are going to affect you tomorrow. Making a bad choice.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you've been there and I've been there. When you get deep into it, are we really in control of our choices anymore, or does the devil got you?
Well, this is the thing. Like, I was a crack addict for 27 years approximately. I lived on the streets in Calgary, Vancouver, Kelowna. I wasn't on the streets, but I had my, and I lived in Winnipeg for a year, and that was the biggest terrible occasion out there in Winnipeg. It was pretty rough. But crack cocaine, I think, compared to carfentanil, is 2 different drugs. You got 2 different highs, and you got 2 different emotional standards that you go by, right? Crack cocaine, like if I was to see a police officer coming towards me, I would run, right? I would try to avoid them because it was paranoia. Now, the carfentanil is totally different, where they don't care. They don't care who comes up to them. They don't care if they're doing their drugs in a bus stop. They have no sense of what they're doing.
Oh, see, I never got into that portion of it, so I really don't know.
Yeah, like there's 2 different types of drugs. You got the high, which is crack cocaine is a temporary high, where the carfentanil and the opiates, it's a down drug. It brings you down, right? That's why you see people sleeping on the benches and you see them sleeping in the parks. They're comatose, right? And now it's to the point now where the carfentanil is making our kids, our youth, they're cripples. They're walking around as if they're a horseshoe, bent over. It's pretty dramatic. Where a crack addict is a high, and because of that high, they're more brave, in the sense that they will go in the thievery in the grocery stores, anything that they can steal the sale to satisfy their dealer, to get more drugs is what they do, right?
So that, saying they're bent over, I thought that was that trank, that horse.
Well, it is, and that's the fentanyl's in that. Carfentanil is intrigued in that third pill.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to understand, after a prolonged period of usage, they can't straighten up anymore.
They can't straighten up. Their backbone is bent in that position, or their spine. It affects all the nerves in your spine and the muscles, and they get tight in that position, right? It's just like having a dislocated shoulder. If it's dislocated for a long period of time, it's harder for them to put it back into place to make it work properly, right? It's the same thing with your spine. If it's in that position for a long period of time, how they can't fix it. And
wow.
That's what we're witnessing today on our streets.
And so when they're on this drug, you're saying it's a downer. Are the effects longer lasting?
Well, I think that there might depend on who is manufacturing that drug, that pill at that time, all right? same thing with crack cocaine. When I was doing crack cocaine on a regular basis, some dealers would cut it with different chemicals.
Right.
So the drug didn't last as long. You didn't get high as long. Like when I first started doing freebase is when you take cocaine and you mix it with baking soda, all right?
Right.
And you cook it, it comes into a hard rock, all right? That's crack cocaine now. Now, originally back in the 90s when I really got really bad into it, that one hoot would last me maybe 2 hours to keep me high.
Really?
Right. And apparently, actually, I was talking to a guy not too long ago here, and he's still into it. And he says like a $40 piece will last him half an hour, where a $40 piece used to last me 3 hours. Like, because they're cutting it so bad, the dealers are making more money on it. Right. And they know they're going to keep you coming back. Because once you get hooked on it, you're hooked.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to get away from.
I mean, yeah, I dabbled in it myself. And we used to have a saying that, not that I'm proud of it, but I mean, we used to say that cocaine will make a new man out of you. The only problem is the new man wants some more cocaine.
Yeah.
And it's just repetitive and so intense.
It's so intense.
It's totally different from alcohol is a kind of a steady stream where, you know, yeah, you've got the extreme high, then you've got that extreme low crashing, you've got the emotional effect on it, and you know, you've got that craving that you want, you're always chasing it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know, it's really sad about that part. Now, any addiction is is something that we weren't born to have, right? But when you look at it, like, you know, we see these young kids on the streets, and how did they get there? How did it happen in the first place? And like for myself, I started smoking crack cocaine when I was in prison.
Oh, it was readily available?
It was the guards that taught me how to cook.
Really?
Yeah,
Because they were bringing it in.
they were bringing it in for the clubs. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that's how I got addicted to it. I was in prison, and yeah, and when I got out, it just went on and on and on. It wasn't until my oldest boy was born, and that was 15 and a half years ago now. He was born. That's when I sobered up. Or I started to sober up. It took me a couple of months to beat what I was trying to do.
So was it the fact that he was born that kind of reached out to you and you realized maybe I should straighten it up?
Well, this is the funny part of this whole thing was wasn't living on the streets. We were pregnant with him, and we had our house, our apartment in Rundle, Calgary here. But I was doing some work for Calgary Homeless Awareness. Now, that was a tributary of Calgary Homeless Foundation at the time. And shortly later, it fell apart. But what happened was they would hire me, and I would go to the universities. Mount Royal was college at the time. And I would speak to different organizations about the drug,
Right.
about being high. And I took the Calgary Police Services for a walk to the park one time. They walked with me, right? And they seen it firsthand, like, how is this happening? They were all dressed in their regular clothes, eh? And anyways, but the night that Francis was born, and I say he saved my life, because he did, I was high. I spoke that night at the University of Calgary, to 77 nursing students. And I was on stage for 45 minutes talking to the nursing students about the drug, about being an addict. And when I get done, they would pay me cash money. So that night they paid me $180 cash. And right on, we come home. My son's mother went to lay down. She wasn't feeling good, like her water was supposed to break any time now. And I'm triggered. I've just been speaking about this drug for 45 minutes straight. And I'm triggered, so I make a phone call to my dealer. I go in the back alleyway and I meet him. All right, now it took me about 15 minutes to go there and wait for him to show up and come back in the house. And my wife's bags were at the door. And I said, what's going on? had water, I had Coke.
Oh, so it was time to go.
It was time to go, and the lady that dropped us off was on her way back to pick us up. So now that $80 piece of crack cocaine I had, I smoked half of it within 20 minutes, right? And away we went to the hospital. Now, being an addict, you don't think people recognize you. You don't think that they can see you. The nurses in the hospital, the doctors in the hospital, they're pretty smart. They've been trained.
Oh yeah, they can see your pupils
they can see right through me.
Well, sure,
And it doesn't matter how hard you hide it, right? You're still fumbling, making mistakes. Anyways, I watched the birth of my son, and I cut the cord and I held him, and wow, that was the most natural high in the world. You can't beat that high holding on to that beautiful little boy. And I decided then I had to clean up. So that was on 5 o'clock on a Saturday morning. On the Monday afternoon, child welfare came. They took him away from me. And it was pretty devastating. Like, what the hell? You know?
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
And here's my pride and joy being carried off. And then the court cases started, and I'm fighting and arguing with child welfare. Yeah, I was determined. The wife, she went into a place called Uville after a bit. And I went to Claire's home, Landers. Now, I've been in treatment centers in Vancouver. I was in treatment centers in Winnipeg, and they never worked. It just didn't work.
You didn't have the motivation.
I didn't have the motivation, all right? And I went to Claire's home, and these people, like at lunchtime, they would play badminton with you or play volleyball with you, the staff. They treated you as if you were family to them. It was totally different type of a program, right? I was in Vancouver, Harbor Lake for 90 days. And it didn't work.
But you also had a new reason.
I know I had a new reason.
So maybe you had a little bit different outlook.
Claire's home, I was there for 18 days. 18
That
days.
was it?
That was it. And I never looked back. I would never do it again. Claire's home had a different way of approaching somebody, right? They understood you. They sat with you. They didn't push the 10 Commandments on you, right?
Right.
They let you go at your rate, at your pace. It was a totally different type of a concept. And after 18 days, coming out of there with an extra 6 pounds on my belly and a beautiful, different attitude, they made it work.
Wow. And then I know a little bit about that, how the system works. My sister's heavily involved in child social services. They want you to get back together as a family. Like I've heard her referred to families as the $1 million family because they'll throw.
They throw every hoop they can at you, trying to discourage you. But that's what you think they're trying to do.
They want to make sure that you're making it. They're going to piss test you.
Yeah. I did random piss testing all the time.
Yeah, and they're going to do supervised visits.
Yeah, that was a hard one.
I can imagine. That's hard, and that builds resentment probably, right?
So, and they still had Francis with them when my other son was born. And at that point, they realized, hey, this family's done enough, and they gave him back to us.
You passed the test.
Yeah. And at the time, I was angry at them. And then after, I think about it today, like, I'm so grateful that they did jump up and do this, right? Because if they didn't, I might not be here today. And that little man would not have a father.
Well, the other thing is, now you can look at it from a different perspective, and you care about your son. And would you have put your son in your care at that time when, out of the $180 instead of buying, where would your priorities be today?
Yeah, well, today, my priorities are like...
You'd fill the fridge and get a roof over his head, not...
Coming here, we stopped and bought him a brand new pair of jeans.
Exactly.
Like he is the priority.
That's what I'm saying. So now you can kind of look at it from their point of view, where it would have been 180 degrees the other way,
Yeah.
and now you can say that.
But I'm giving him a life right today, but he gave me life. And I look at it the other direction.
Yeah, and you've got 2 other sons,
I got 3 beautiful boys.
so it's working out. But
Yeah.
you're by yourself, and it's a tough go.
It's a really hard go.
Yeah,
I'm 66. I should be, like the average 66 man or woman, they would have been retired with a pension. I don't have that.
no,
I blew all that. But it is what it is, right? I just get up every day and I keep on trying.
yeah,
And they're getting to the age right now, especially my oldest. He's like, he knows where he's going. He has a plan for himself already.
right.
You know, scary. He approached me the other day and said, "Hey, when I turn 16, can you sign the papers for military?"
Oh, he wants to go into the military.
Yeah, he wants to be in the military.
Wow,
And it's scary.
it is.
To let him go.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
It's pretty young.
He's got the ambition. He's got the drive.
And is there something he wants to do?
He's going to be a mechanic, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But he's got his heart set on serving, eh?
Serving it through the military. Yeah. And I can't say no. If that's his goal. And it's a goal that he's going to be not doing the drugs. He's not going to be doing the alcoholism. I hope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least at least he knows what he wants to do, and he's got a goal, and that's.
He knows not the whole story. He knows everything about the whole story about me.
Yeah.
I don't keep it a secret. It's not, they ever want to ask questions about it, I'm there to talk to them about it. It's got to be open. And we have that trust, that bond where we understand each other.
Well, is it a reoccurring theme has developed while I've been doing this podcast too? This isn't even early 2000s anymore. Ever since COVID, there's been a huge focus. Everywhere is Little Vancouver now.
Yes.
Everybody's got this epidemic of addiction, and there's no shame or blame there, whether you call it a disease or whether there was trauma. I'm not here to argue that point. The fact of the matter is, addiction is running rampant, and we're trying to find solutions. So anything that
the thing about it is crack cocaine is not, and same with opiates. They're not a natural substance that was grown in America. The United States or Canada did not have crack. We didn't have the coconut, right? It was brought in here. It was shipped in here. Somebody got it in here over our borders,
right.
right? I commercial fished on the West Coast on a little boat one time. I did it for 2 years. And we picked up packages that were floating and took them to shore.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah, and we sold them. We didn't sell them. We handed them over, right? And 2 different organizations out there. I'm not going to dare mention the names, but
No, yeah.
we got handed them over. Right?
Because if you didn't,
And then the next day there'd be an envelope on the deck of the boat for us. Like it was. But in order for that to happen, the Coast Guards, right? Somebody had to see this happening. Somebody had to let it happen. If they could pick my boat out, like I was 200 miles offshore, one day my radar screwed up, and I was 200 miles offshore, and all of a sudden I got Canada Coast Guard right there because they see me on the radar wanting to know what was happening,
right?
right? And it was just an innocent mistake when I was playing with the radar on my boat. That if they can find me out there doing that, they can sure as hell find somebody coming through dropping off parcels. And we see it now on TV. They got it down in Mexico all the time. But they could do that at the time out there. So somebody was letting it happen. Somebody higher up was getting paid to let these drugs into our country. And still today.
Well, like you were just saying, you know, when you were in prison, the guards.
It was the guards that taught me how to cook.
So, you know, the wolf was in charge of the hen house there, right? Or the fox was in charge of the hen house. So you can see, I mean, it's always followed the money, Frank.
It is. And somebody's getting rich on somebody else's ignorance, somebody else's stupidity, innocence. Right? Let's put it this way. All right, it can start off so easy. We could have a bunch of children, a bunch of kids graduating from high school or graduating or having a big party at the university. All right, and they're in a house party. Be one person in that party that will call a dealer to get high.
Right.
That dealer will come into that party. Now, he's looking for two things. One is he's looking to see if anybody's going to rat him out, right?
Right, for sure.
They're pretty smart on this. The other one is they're looking for more money, another victim. So that dealer will go into the back room or the kitchen or the back bedroom, and he'll say, who's that young girl staying over there in the corner? Doesn't look like she fits in. So they bring her into the room, right? They get her high, free. No cost to get her high, right? And then to get her high again later, all right? Now she's enjoying this. She's not being left in the corner by herself. Now she's in with a big crew, right? She's really feeling popular all of a sudden.
Right.
So she sells any money she has on her, she buys more, gets rid of all of her jewelry. The only thing that dealer will not take from that young lady is her cell phone.
Because that's what she needs to get a hold of them.
That's their line of communication, right? Now the party's dispensing. Everybody's leaving, right? She's coming down. She doesn't want to come down. She wants to get high again. So he teaches her, lay on your back, get on your knees, right? Takes advantage of her.
Yeah.
He gives her the dope, and away he goes. Now she's high and she's walking around by herself and she's coming down. Now she's starting to feel it. Or emotionally, she is strapped now. She understands what had just happened to her. And she's upset with herself. She's humiliated herself and she is afraid of how she's going to approach this. She can't go home and tell her parents. Her friends that were at the party all seen what was happening. They're going to laugh at her.
Right.
She's walking down the street, right? She's crying. She's upset.
She's alone.
All by herself. And now who comes around the corner? Here comes Grandpa, her Uncle John in his car. He sees her. He gets her in the car, right? Here's your money, dear. And he does it to her again. He takes advantage of it, right? And he drops her off at the corner. She makes her phone call. She gets high. Right? Now it's a vicious circle. And then it gets worse. Later on that day, that Uncle John will come around that corner again, but this time he's going to have his family with him. And they're going to say, look at that useless piece of thing over there. Look at her. Okay? Just a whore on the street. And then we ask, why is it that we have these ladies on the street corner? Because it's an ugly, vicious circle. They're embarrassed to go home. They don't know who to reach out to. They don't know who to trust anymore. Because all their friends at the party watched what happened and nobody reached out to help her right then. She doesn't know who to go to. It's a vicious, ugly circle.
It is.
And then all of a sudden we find her dead on the street, or somebody hurt her bad. Or it's up there every day. It happens every day.
It is. I just wanted to see, the last time you were here, you left a bit of a poem.
Yeah.
Would you like to read that?
I would love to do this. I wrote this poem, and what happened was I grew up in Ontario with my neighbor. She lived down the road from me, and actually she was my first love. And I bumped into her one day in Calgary at the Shamrock Hotel, which is no longer there. And she was a working girl then.
Oh, is that right?
When I
Yeah.
bumped into her this time. Anyways, she passed away with a drug overdose.
Wow.
was talking to her sisters in Ontario about it. And this is when I was still on the streets at the time. And I sat down and wrote this poem about her. And it meant something. It was published. SafeWorks published it in their magazine. And it went viral in Ontario for a while. But yeah. It goes, does anybody care? Did you read the paper? Did you see what it said? Just another man turned up dead. He had no money, he had no home, and like many others, he felt all alone. Nobody to love, nobody to care. He tried to reach out, and nobody was there. His addiction took over and over again. It never let up until he was no longer a man. The strap on his arm held a needle in place. He left this world with a pitiful look on his face. He is gone now, and I wonder what could I have done. He is gone now, and I wonder what I could have done.
Wow.
And I wrote that probably a year before my son was born, so that would be 16 years ago.
Reminds me, I've got a little bit of a story myself, and I was with this lady for a few years, and she said she had a son named Ty. Beautiful boy, blonde haired, blue eyed, turn your head, played drums, and he had a pretty rough go. His dad was one of us, was an alcoholic, and was pretty emotionally abusive. His father passed away. Left him a house in Ogden. It was a little rough, but also left him some money. He had about $100,000. I went in, I changed the furnace and the hot water tank, got everything up to par in the mechanical. I said, here. I didn't charge him 1 penny labor. Did it? I said, here, Ty, I'm doing this. He said, I could really do something with this place. I said, yes. I said, you find a nice lady and you get yourself cleaned up. And I said, if you got too many bad memories here, sell the house, rent it, but do something with it, right? And I wonder if I could have done more, because within a couple of years, he was hanging off one of the doors. And I often think, but what could I have said or done for him more that would have reached him? I'll never know.
You know, this is the thing, because we're all born different. We all have different attitudes, right? Like when we were first born, we have like our parents looked down upon us, and we had different colors of pillowcases and blankets and whatnot. And this is something that they never expected we would ever become. This is a road they didn't want to see us travel. And when it starts going down that road, people reach out, they try their best, right? And at the end of it, we blame ourselves, because, yeah, what could we have done more? How much more can we reach out? I was cleaning up, and I started a roofing company and everything, and then I was hiring men and women that I knew from before, and they were still using. And yeah, they were just working to get high. And I had to let them go, because I couldn't see that. I couldn't see the waste anymore. I couldn't see anybody getting rich off of that young person anymore. You have to stop hiring those people.
And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I never met a dumb addict. And talent coming out, like you've seen it. Yeah. I've had one of my uncles spent 25 years in Kingston, maximum security, and got transferred to Millhaven. He was in there for murder. Make no bones about it. I was visiting Kingston Penn. I lived in Kingston since the time my mom was taking me to visit him since I was 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the art and the things that I saw come out of that place will blow your mind.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm sure if you were in prison, you saw some of it too. These are not stupid people.
I was mostly solitary confinement, but yeah. You know, and I've said this before to people, you can go into the drop-in center or the warehouse at the mustard seed down, and you can take a look around and start talking to different individuals. And I bet you, if they had all these smarts put into one, we could have our own NASA right here in Calgary. There's that many smart people living in the shelters with addiction issues. That if they put their smarts together, we could build our own ships. Because they're not stupid people. They're injured, they're damaged because of an addiction.
My other friend told me, and he was in there for 9 years and he's passed away now. And he told me, you know what the only difference between you and me, Sean? He said, I had a bad 10 minutes. And he said, most of the guys in here had a bad 10 minutes that they don't remember. They wake up the next morning and they're given a piece of paper. Here's the list of charges. Do you remember what happened yesterday? And a lot of them say, not really. And here's your new life and here's what you did. But we're out of time on this one, so we'll say goodbye and then we'll get you to come back.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir. Looking forward to it.
All right. You guys have another 24 and take care.